The Unveiling, the grand amphitheater of the Galactic Assembly on Nexus Prime buzzed with anticipation. Delegates from 1,000 worlds shifted in their seats, appendages twitching and translators humming as they awaited the arrival of the Earth delegation. For centuries, humans have been considered a minor species, tolerated but rarely taken seriously in the grand debates that shaped interstellar policy. Today, that was about to change. Ambassador Elena Chen strode into the chamber, her steps measured and confident. Behind her marched four figures that immediately captured the attention of every being present. They were clad in sleek, iridescent armor that seemed to shimmer and shift with each movement, as if reality itself bent around them. The Mark VI quantum armor, Earth's most closely guarded secret, was about to be unveiled to the galaxy at large. As Chen approached the central podium, the chamber fell into an eerie silence. Even the usually boisterous Krell representatives, with their massive frames and booming voices, watched in rapt attention. Chen's voice, clear and unwavering, broke the silence. Esteemed members of the Galactic Assembly, I come before you today to announce that the era of human subservience in galactic affairs has come to an end. A low murmur rippled through the crowd, quickly silenced as Chen continued. For too long, Earth has been denied access to advanced technologies, restricted in our expansion, and treated as little more than a curiosity. We have worked in secret, pushing the boundaries of science and engineering. Today, we present the culmination of our efforts, the Mark VI quantum armor. At her gesture, the four armored figures stepped forward, their helmets retracted, revealing the faces of two men and two women, a deliberate display of human diversity. The armor seemed to pulse with an inner light, mesmerizing in its complexity. This is not merely a defensive tool, Chen explained, her voice taking on a hint of pride. The Mark VI represents a fundamental leap in our understanding of quantum mechanics and its practical applications. It grants its wearer enhanced strength, speed, and cognitive abilities. But more importantly, it allows for manipulation of local spacetime, opening up possibilities that were once thought to be in the realm of science fiction. To demonstrate, one of the armored soldiers, a woman with close-cropped silver hair, stepped forward. She raised her hand, and suddenly, a shimmering field of energy enveloped her. With a gesture, she lifted off the ground, hovering effortlessly. Another motion, and she seemed to phase partially out of existence, becoming translucent before solidifying once more. The assembly erupted into chaos. Shouts of disbelief, demands for explanation, and cries of outrage filled the air. The Valdari delegation, long-standing rivals of humanity, rose as one, their scaled skin flushing deep crimson in agitation. "This is an outrage," bellowed Sarix, the Valdari ambassador. "Humans have clearly violated the technology-sharing accords. They must be sanctioned immediately." Chen remained calm in the face of the growing storm. "The accords that you speak of, Ambassador Sarix, are the very agreements that have kept humanity shackled. We signed them under duress, faced with the threat of isolation or worse. Today, we declare those accords null and void." The bold statement sent another shock wave through the assembly. Several delegations huddled together, engaging in rapid, whispered conversations. Others stared at the armored humans with a mixture of fear and awe. Amidst the commotion, a tall, willowy figure glided forward. It was Zira, representative of the enigmatic Elysians, a race known for their advanced technology and general aloofness from galactic politics. Her voice, melodious and calming, cut through the din. "Ambassador Chen, your revelation is most unexpected. The Elysian conclave would be interested in discussing a technology exchange. Perhaps there is much we could learn from each other." Chen nodded respectfully to Zira. "The Earth United Federation would welcome such discussions, Representative Zira. We come not to dominate, but to take our rightful place as equals in this grand tapestry of civilizations." As more delegations began to voice their opinions, some supportive, others wary or outright hostile, Chen knew that the real work was just beginning. Earth had made its move, and now the galaxy would respond. The next few cycles would be crucial in shaping humanity's future among the stars. Back on Earth, in the gleaming spires of New Geneva, the seat of the Earth United Federation government, President Adama Nkrumah watched the proceedings with a mixture of pride and apprehension. Surrounded by his advisors and military leaders, he knew that their years of secret preparation were about to be put to the test. Status report, Nkrumah demanded, his eyes never leaving the holographic display of the Galactic Assembly. General Yuki Tanaka, head of Earth's Defense Forces, stepped forward. All systems a go, Mr. President. Our fleets are on high alert, and Mark VI production facilities are running at full capacity. We're ready for any eventuality. Nkrumah nodded, his expression grim. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but if it does. He left the thought unfinished, but everyone in the room understood. Earth was prepared for peace but ready for war. As the delegates on Nexus Prime continued to argue and debate, Chen's voice once again cut through the clamor. Esteemed colleagues, we understand that our announcement has caused quite a stir. But consider this, the galaxy is vast and full of wonders, yes, but also dangers. Earth has developed this technology not out of a desire for dominance, but out of necessity. We invite you all to join us in ushering in a new era of exploration, discovery, and mutual protection. Her words seemed to resonate with many of the delegates. The Arcturian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with agreement. The humans speak wisdom. For too long we have stagnated, content with our current understanding of the universe. Perhaps this, quantum armor, is the push we need to reach for the stars once more. Not everyone was convinced, however. The Valdari delegation, along with several of their allies, continued to protest vehemently. Sarex, his scales now a mottled mix of red and black, signaling both anger and fear, stepped forward once more. This changes nothing, he hissed. Humans remain a young, impulsive species. Giving them access to the broader galaxy with this level of technology is nothing short of madness. I call for an immediate vote to quarantine Earth and confiscate this so-called quantum armor. Chen's eyes narrowed, but before she could respond, one of the armored soldiers, a tall, dark-skinned man, stepped forward. His voice, amplified by the armor's systems, carried easily across the chamber. With respect, Ambassador Sarex, you seem to be under the mistaken impression that we are asking for permission. The soldier's armor shimmered, and suddenly he was standing directly in front of Sarex, having covered the distance in the blink of an eye. We are here to inform, not to seek approval. Earth is ready to extend the hand of friendship, but we will not be bullied or threatened. The display of the armor's capabilities sent another ripple of shock through the assembly. Sarex stumbled backward, his composure shattered. Chen, seizing the moment, addressed the chamber once more. What you have just witnessed is but a fraction of what the Mark VI can do. We have unlocked the ability to manipulate the quantum foam itself, allowing for localized spacetime distortions. This technology has implications far beyond warfare. Imagine the advances in medicine, in space exploration, in energy production. As she spoke, holographic displays sprang to life around the chamber, showcasing potential applications of the quantum technology. Diseases being cured at the subatomic level, ships traversing vast distances through controlled wormholes, barren planets being terraformed in a matter of years instead of centuries. The mood in the chamber began to shift. Many delegates who had been hostile or worrying now looked thoughtful, even excited. The Elysian representative, Zira, stepped forward once more. The Elysian Conclave proposes a summit, she announced, her melodious voice carrying an undercurrent of excitement. Let us gather the greatest scientific minds from all our civilizations, including Earth, to explore the full potential of this quantum technology. Together, we may unlock wonders beyond our wildest dreams. Chen smiled, inclining her head in respect. The Earth United Federation would be honored to participate in such a summit, Representative Zira. We come seeking cooperation, not conflict. As more delegations voiced their support for the idea, it became clear that a new chapter in galactic history was beginning. Earth, long dismissed as a backwater world, had catapulted itself to the forefront of interstellar politics and technology. But even as plans for the summit took shape, shadows lurked at the edges of known space. In the depths of the void, an ancient power stirred, awakened by the quantum disturbances caused by Earth's new technology. As humanity prepared to claim its place among the stars, an unseen threat gathered strength, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. On Earth, President Nkrumah received the news of the proposed summit with cautious optimism. "Well played, Elena," he murmured, watching the holographic feed. "But this is just the beginning. The real challenges lie ahead." He turned to his advisors, his expression resolute. "Prepare our best and brightest for this summit. And General Tanaka, double the production of Mark VI units. I have a feeling we're going to need them sooner rather than later." As the Galactic Assembly adjourned, delegates rushing to inform their governments of the day's momentous events, Ambassador Chen and her armored escort prepared to return to Earth. The first move had been made, the galaxy's attention captured. Now, humanity had to prove it was ready for the responsibilities and dangers that came with its newfound power. The quantum armor shimmered in the light of Nexus Prime's setting suns, a symbol of Earth's leap into a new era. The galaxy watched, waited, and wondered what the rise of humanity would mean for the delicate balance of power among the stars. The stage was set for a saga that would reshape the very fabric of interstellar civilization. Rising tensions. In the weeks following Earth's dramatic unveiling of the Mark VI quantum armor, the galaxy found itself in a state of flux. The once stable power dynamics that had defined interstellar politics for millennia were rapidly shifting, with humanity at the epicenter of the change. On Earth, the atmosphere was one of cautious celebration mixed with intense preparation. The Quantum Technology Summit, proposed by the Elysians, was set to begin in a matter of days, and the planet buzzed with activity as scientists, diplomats, and military personnel made ready for this unprecedented gathering of galactic minds. In his office atop the gleaming spire of the Earth United Federation headquarters in New Geneva, President Adama Nkrumah gazed out at the bustling cityscape. The view was partially obscured by shimmering energy fields, new planetary defenses, a necessary precaution in these uncertain times. A soft chime announced the arrival of his chief advisors. Ambassador Elena Chen, fresh from her triumph at the Galactic Assembly, entered alongside General Yuki Tanaka and Dr. Zara Okoro, Earth's leading expert on quantum physics and the primary architect of the Mark VI armor. "Mr. President," Chen began, her voice carrying a note of concern, "we've received some troubling reports from our intelligence networks." Nkrumah turned, his expression grim. "Let's hear it." General Tanaka stepped forward, activating a holographic display. "Several of our allies have reported unusual activity along the borders of Valdari space. It appears they're mobilizing their fleet, ostensibly for routine exercises." "Routine exercises, my foot," Nkrumah muttered. "They're rattling their sabers, trying to intimidate us and our supporters." Chen nodded in agreement. "That's not all, sir. We've detected increased chatter among some of the more conservative elements in the Galactic Assembly. There's talk of forming a coalition to demand oversight of Earth's quantum technology program." Dr. Okoro, who had been quietly analyzing the data, spoke up. "There's something else, something our long-range quantum sensors picked up. We're detecting unusual energy fluctuations from the region of space known as the Void." This caught everyone's attention. The Void, a vast expanse of seemingly empty space beyond the galactic rim, had long been avoided by even the most adventurous explorers. Strange phenomena and unexplained disappearances had given the area a sinister reputation. "What kind of fluctuations?" Nkrumah asked, his brow furrowed. "It's hard to say," Okoro admitted. "The patterns are unlike anything we've seen before, but they seem to be intensifying, and there's a troubling correlation with our use of the quantum armor." A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. Earth's great leap forward might have awakened something ancient and unknown. We need more information, crewmen decided. General Tanaka, prepare a stealth mission to the edge of the void. We need eyes out there. Yes, sir, Tanaka replied. I have just the team in mind. As Earth's leaders grappled with these new challenges across the galaxy, other forces were at work. On the Valdari homeworld of Sarkesh, a very different meeting was taking place. In a chamber carved from living crystal, deep beneath the planet's stormy surface, Sarex, the Valdari ambassador, faced his world's ruling council. The room pulsed with an angry red light, reflecting the mood of its occupants. The humans have upset the balance, Sarex hissed, his scales rippling with agitation. They must be contained before they drag us all into chaos. High Lord Vezex, leader of the Valdari Imperium, leaned forward on his crystalline throne. Your failure at the Galactic Assembly has put us in a precarious position, Sarex. Many of our traditional allies are now courting favor with the humans. Sarex bowed low, his voice tinged with shame and determination. Forgive me, my lord. I underestimated their audacity. But all is not lost. I have been in contact with like-minded species who share our concerns. We can form a coalition to stand against Earth's unchecked expansion. Vezek's eyes narrowed. Speak plainly, Sarex. What do you propose? A show of force, my lord. We gather our allies, mobilize our fleets. We demand that Earth submit to galactic oversight, that they share their quantum technology with all spacefaring races. If they refuse, we go to war, Vezek finished, his voice a low rumble. The chamber fell silent, the gravity of the moment weighing heavily on all present. After what seemed an eternity, Vezek spoke again. Very well, make your preparations, Sarex. But know this, if your gambit fails, the consequences for our people could be severe. Tread carefully. As Sarex left the chamber, his mind racing with plans and possibilities, he failed to notice a shadowy figure slipping away down a hidden passage. Within hours, encrypted transmissions were racing across the galaxy, carrying warning of the Valdari's intentions. Meanwhile, on Nexus Prime, final preparations were underway for the Quantum Technology Summit. The great halls of the Galactic Assembly had been transformed into a sprawling scientific complex, with laboratories, lecture halls, and demonstration areas set up to facilitate the exchange of ideas. Zira, the Elysian representative, glided through the bustling corridors, her ethereal form drawing curious glances from the diverse array of beings present. She paused at the Earth delegation's quarters, where Dr. Okoro was engrossed in a holographic simulation. Your work continues to astound, Dr. Okoro, Zira said, her melodious voice carrying a note of genuine admiration. Okoro looked up, offering a warm smile. Representative Zira, welcome. I was just running some final checks on our presentation for tomorrow. Zira moved closer, her luminous eyes fixed on the swirling quantum patterns in the holographic display. I must confess, the Elysian Conclave is most eager to begin our exchange. Your quantum manipulation techniques are unprecedented in our experience. Dr. Okoro nodded, a hint of pride in her voice. We've only scratched the surface of what's possible. With the combined knowledge of all the races attending this summit, who knows what we might achieve? As they discussed the potential applications of quantum technology, Neva noticed the small, spider-like drone clinging to the ceiling, its optical sensors focused intently on the holographic display. Thousands of light-years away, at the edge of known space, a sleek Earth vessel dropped out of quantum slip. The EFS Shadow, a prototype stealth ship equipped with the latest quantum cloaking technology, had arrived at its destination, the outskirts of the mysterious region known as the Void. On the bridge, Captain Maya Rodriguez surveyed the star-scarce expanse before them. Status report, she ordered, her voice tense. All systems nominal, Captain, her XO, Lieutenant Kenji Sato, responded. Quantum cloak is holding steady. No sign of detection by any known scanning methods. Dr. Emily Zhao, the mission's lead scientist, spoke up from her station. "Captain, I'm picking up those energy fluctuations," Dr. Okoro reported. They're unlike anything I've ever seen." Rodriguez moved to Zhao's console, studying the readouts with a furrowed brow. "Can you localize the source?" Zhao shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. "It's difficult. The signals seem to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. It's as if the very fabric of space-time is rippling." As the crew of the Shadow grappled with the bizarre phenomena, a warning klaxon suddenly blared. Lieutenant Soto's hands flew over his console. "Captain, massive energy spike detected. Something's coming through." Before their eyes, the empty space before them began to warp and twist. A vast, shimmering portal tore open the darkness, and from its depths emerged a sight that sent chills down the spines of every crew member. A massive vessel, if it could be called that, appeared. It was an incomprehensible structure of shifting geometric patterns and pulsing energy fields. It dwarfed the Shadow, making the Earth ship seem like a mote of dust in comparison. "By all that's holy," Rodriguez breathed, her training momentarily forgotten in the face of this impossible apparition. "What is that thing?" Dr. Zhao, her face pale, could only shake her head in stunned silence. The readings from the alien construct were off the charts, defying all known laws of physics. As they watched, frozen in a mix of awe and terror, the vast entity seemed to pause. For a moment, it was as if two civilizations, separated by unfathomable gulfs of time and space, were regarding each other across the cosmic void. Then, without warning, the alien vessel vanished, leaving behind only turbulent eddies in the fabric of space-time. "Tell me we got all of that on sensors," Rodriguez said, her voice barely above a whisper. Sato nodded, his eyes still wide with shock. "Every second, Captain, though I'm not sure our instruments were even capable of comprehending what we just saw." Rodriguez straightened, her composure returning. "Set a course back to Earth, maximum speed. We need to report this immediately." As the Shadow prepared to return home, its crew unaware of the full implications of what they had witnessed, events elsewhere in the galaxy continued to unfold at a rapid pace. On Sarkesh, the Valdari homeworld, final preparations were being made for what Sarex and his allies hoped would be a decisive show of force. A vast armada of warships from a dozen different species had gathered, their hulls gleaming in the light of Sarkesh's twin suns. Sarex stood on the bridge of the Valdari flagship, the Crystal Fang, surveying the assembled fleet with a mixture of pride and trepidation. "Is everything in place?" he asked his aide, a younger Valdari named Kex. "Yes, Ambassador," Kex replied, his scales shimmering with excitement. "The fleet is ready. Our agents on Nexus Prime await your signal to begin the operation." Sarex nodded, his expression grim. "Then let us proceed. For the good of the galaxy, we must put an end to the human threat before it's too late." As the Valdari fleet prepared to make its move, on Nexus Prime, the Quantum Technology Summit was in full swing. The great halls of the Galactic Assembly buzzed with activity as scientists from 100 worlds shared knowledge, debated theories, and marveled at demonstrations of Earth's quantum armor. In one of the main presentation chambers, Dr. Okoro was in the middle of explaining the finer points of quantum entanglement as applied to the Mark VI armor's communication systems. The room was packed, with beings of all shapes and sizes hanging on her every word. By leveraging quantum entanglement, Okoro explained, gesturing to a complex holographic model, "We've achieved instantaneous communication across vast distances, completely immune to conventional forms of interception or jamming." A murmur of excitement rippled through the audience. The implications of such technology were staggering, promising to revolutionize everything from space travel to galactic commerce. As Okoro fielded questions from the assembled scientists, Ambassador Chen slipped quietly into the back of the room. Her face was tense, her movements hurried. She caught Okoro's eye and gave a subtle nod towards the exit. Excusing herself, Okoro made her way through the crowded room to where Chen waited. "Elena, what's wrong?" she asked, noting the ambassador's worried expression. "We've just received word from our intelligence networks," Chen whispered urgently. "The Valdari are on the move. A massive fleet, with ships from at least a dozen different species, has been detected heading this way." Okoro's eyes widened in shock. "Here. They're attacking Nexus Prime." Chen shook her head. "We don't think so. Our analysts believe they're planning to surround the planet to try and force us to submit to their demands. But if they're willing to go this far, it could easily escalate into open conflict," Okoro finished, her mind racing. "We need to alert the others, prepare our defenses." As they hurried to warn Earth's delegation and their allies, neither woman noticed the small, spider-like drone detaching itself from the ceiling and scuttling away into the shadows. In a hidden chamber deep within the bowels of Nexus Prime, a group of robed figures gathered around a shimmering holographic display. The image showed the Valdari fleet, a vast armada of warships moving inexorably towards the heart of galactic civilization. One of the figures, its features hidden beneath a deep hood, spoke in a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of space itself. "The pieces are in motion. The young races squabble amongst themselves, blind to the true threat that grows in the dark between the stars." Another figure, taller and more ethereal than the rest, raised a hand towards the display. The image shifted, showing the EFS Shadow's encounter with the vast, unknowable entity at the edge of the void. "The Harbinger has revealed itself," the tall figure intoned. "The cycle nears its completion. We must accelerate our plans." As the shadowy conclave plotted in secret, the galaxy teetered on the brink of chaos. The Valdari fleet drew ever closer to Nexus Prime. Earth scrambled to respond to both the immediate threat and the terrifying implications of what the Shadow had discovered. And in the vast, cold emptiness of the void, ancient forces stirred, awakened by the quantum disturbances spreading across the cosmos. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the destiny of not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy. As tensions rose and the drums of war began to beat, the true test of Earth's quantum armor, and the spirit of those who wielded it, was about to begin. The Quantum Gambit. The grand halls of the Galactic Assembly on Nexus Prime, so recently filled with the excited buzz of scientific discourse, now echoed with the urgent voices of diplomats and military strategists. The news of the approaching Valdari fleet had spread like wildfire, transforming the Quantum Technology Summit into an impromptu war council. Ambassador Elena Chen stood at the center of a holographic tactical display, her face set in grim determination as she addressed the hastily assembled group of Earth's allies and sympathetic neutral parties. "The Valdari fleet will reach Nexus Prime within 6 hours, she announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Their intentions are clear: to intimidate us into submission, to force us to relinquish control of our quantum technology." Zira, the Elysian representative, glided forward, her luminous form shimmering with concern. Surely they would not risk open war. The consequences would be catastrophic for all involved. Chen's expression darkened. "We cannot rule out the possibility. The Valdari and their allies have committed significant resources to this show of force. If they feel cornered or desperate, they may resort to drastic measures." As the assembled delegates debated strategy, Dr. Zara Okoro worked feverishly at a console, coordinating with the Earth Defense Forces. She looked up, catching Chen's eye, and gave a subtle nod. The ambassador excused herself from the main group and joined Okoro at her station. "What news?" Chen asked in a low voice. Okoro's fingers danced over the holographic interface as she spoke. "The EFS Shadow has returned from its mission to the void. Captain Rodriguez's report is unsettling, to say the least. We may be dealing with more than just the Valdari threat." Before Chen could inquire further, a commotion at the entrance to the chamber drew everyone's attention. A squad of Mark V-equipped soldiers escorted a figure that caused a ripple of shock to pass through the assembled delegates. It was Kex, Sarex's young aide from the Valdari delegation. The Valdari scales were pale, his movements jerky with nervous energy as he was brought before Ambassador Chen. I come seeking asylum," Kex stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. "And I bring information vital to the survival of all our peoples." Chen's eyes narrowed, suspicion warring with curiosity. "Speak quickly, then. Why should we trust you?" Kex took a deep breath, steadying himself. "Because what I've discovered goes far beyond the petty squabbles between our races. Ambassador Sarex and the Valdari High Command, they're not acting entirely of their own volition." A murmur of confusion rippled through the chamber. Chen leaned in, her voice intense. "Explain." "There's a hidden force at work," Kex continued, his words tumbling out in a rush. "An ancient race, long thought extinct. They call themselves the Precursors. They've been manipulating events from the shadows, pushing us towards conflict." Dr. Okoro, who had been listening intently, suddenly paled. She pulled up a series of sensor readings on her console. "The energy signatures from the void," she breathed. "They match what Kex is describing. Ambassador, I think he's telling the truth." Chen's mind raced, processing the implications of this new information. If Kex was to be believed, they were facing a threat far greater than a mere interstellar political dispute. "We need to get this information to the Valdari fleet," Chen decided. "If we can make them understand that they're being manipulated, we might be able to avoid bloodshed." Zora, who had glided over to join the discussion, spoke up. "I can assist with that. The Elysian Conclave has developed a quantum entanglement communication device that can pierce through any known form of jamming or interference." As plans were quickly formulated to reach out to the approaching Valdari fleet, deep in the void of space, aboard the vast precursor vessel, ancient intelligences stirred. The being known as the Overseer, a creature of pure energy and unfathomable intellect, observed the unfolding events with a mixture of amusement and irritation. Its thoughts, incomprehensible to lesser beings, flickered through networks of exotic matter. The young races proved more resilient than anticipated, the Overseer mused to its fellow precursors. "This quantum technology of theirs, it holds potential we had not foreseen." Another precursor, its form a writhing mass of tentacles and eyes, responded. "Perhaps it is time we revealed ourselves fully. The cycle nears its end. We must prepare the galaxy for the great harvest." The Overseer's energy field pulsed with what might have been considered laughter in a lesser being. "Patience, void color. Let us see how they handle this little trial we set before them. Their response will determine our next move." Back on Nexus Prime, frantic preparations were underway. The Earth delegation, working in concert with their newfound allies, had devised a daring plan. As the Valdari fleet drew ever closer, a small team would use the quantum armor's unique capabilities to infiltrate the flagship and confront Sarex directly. In a secure chamber deep within the Galactic Assembly complex, 4 figures stood encased in the shimmering brilliance of Mark VI quantum armor. Captain Maya Rodriguez, fresh from her harrowing encounter at the edge of the void, had volunteered to lead the mission. Beside her stood Dr. Emily Zhao, whose first-hand experience with the strange phenomena in the void made her an invaluable asset. Rounding out the team were 2 of Earth's most skilled quantum armor operators, Lieutenant Arya Patel, a tactical genius with a knack for thinking outside the box, and Sergeant Marcus Chen, no relation to the ambassador, a steady veteran with nerves of steel. Ambassador Chen addressed the team, her voice filled with a mixture of pride and concern. "You carry with you the hopes of not just Earth, but all races who desire peace in this galaxy. Your mission is to reach Sarex, show him the evidence of precursor manipulation, and convince him to stand down." Dr. Okoro stepped forward, holding a small, pulsing device. "This quantum beacon will allow us to track your position and maintain communication, even through the Valdari's defensive screens. But be warned, its power source is limited. Once you're inside the flagship, you'll have no more than an hour before you'll need to extract." As the team made final checks on their equipment, alarms blared throughout the complex. The Valdari fleet had arrived, dropping out of faster-than-light travel in a dazzling display of power. Hundreds of ships, representing a dozen different species, took up positions around Nexus Prime. On the bridge of the Crystal Fang, Ambassador Sarex watched the planet grow larger on the viewscreen, his scales rippling with a mixture of anticipation and doubt. Something felt off about this whole operation, but he couldn't quite put his claw on what it was. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the surface. It's using some kind of quantum entanglement technology. We can't block it." Sarex's eyes narrowed. "Put it through." The holographic image of Ambassador Chen materialized on the bridge, her expression stern but not hostile. "Ambassador Sarex, I implore you to reconsider this course of action. We have evidence that both our peoples are being manipulated by an ancient force known as the Precursors." Sarex scoffed, but a seed of doubt had been planted. "More human tricks and lies. We will not be deterred from our righteous cause." As Chen attempted to reason with Sarex, elsewhere on the Crystal Fang, reality itself seemed to hiccup. In a secluded maintenance corridor, 4 figures shimmered into existence, their quantum armor allowing them to phase through the ship's hull. "We're in," Captain Rodriguez whispered into her comm, "beginning infiltration now." As the strike team made their way through the Valdari flagship, evading patrols and security systems with their advanced technology, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The Valdari fleet held its position, poised to attack at any moment. On Nexus Prime, defenses were scrambled, with every available ship and weapon brought to bear. And out in the dark depths of the void, ancient eyes watched with growing interest. The Precursors, architects of civilizations and harbingers of extinction, prepared to make their move. The quantum gambit was approaching its endgame, and the future of all sentient life would be decided in the crucible of the coming conflict. The strike team moved swiftly through the corridors of the Crystal Fang, their quantum armor allowing them to phase through walls and bypass security checkpoints with ease. Captain Rodriguez led the way, her enhanced senses on high.